me show you what I'm talking about. And this is leading right into new technology, because the revolution is going to come through the use of new technology. The way we will restore the true freedom of individual Americans to control their lives, their family, their privacy, their homes, their business, their bank accounts, abolishing the income tax, going to a national consumption tax is the ultimate freedom tax. Getting the government out of our lives and out of our pockets can be best illustrated by this full glass of water and these two empty ones. And this is a great way to illustrate American constitutional law, and is quite accurate legally, and also a great way for us to think about what we should be focusing on, I think, as conservatives. If you imagine that this first glass represents we the people of the United States, the second glass, I'll say, is Texas, being from Texas and partial to Texas, and then the final glass is the federal government. And the way our system is designed, that we are the only nation in the history of the world that finally understood that the rights, powers, and privileges we have as free people come not from the hands of princes of the government, but directly from the hand of God. And that if you imagine that the water within this glass represents all the rights, powers, privileges given to us as free people directly from the hand of God, when the people of any state, but I'll again focus on Texas, when we created the Republic of Texas in 1836, the whole idea was that we the people would grant the authority, would loan some authority to the government of our, in this case, the Republic of Texas. We'd loan about maybe that much authority and reserve all the rest to ourselves. And when the Republic of Texas, when the United States joined Texas, as we like to think of it, on December 31st, 1845, at midnight, actually December 29th, 1845, at midnight, when the Republic of Texas became the state of Texas. And remember again that the Constitution says, begins and ends, the beginning and ending of any document are the most important parts of the document. The Constitution beginning with we the people, ending with the 10th Amendment. And the Founding Fathers did that deliberately. The 10th Amendment saying that all power not expressly delegated to the federal government is reserved for the states and the people, respectively. And they did that deliberately, putting it at the end of the document because it was so important to them. And to all of us, I think, as conservatives, it's the most important part of the Constitution. It's a truism. The 10th Amendment doesn't do anything. It states a truism like the sky is blue, and that all power not expressly given to the federal government, delegated in the Constitution, is reserved to the people. So the way to think about that is when Illinois or Texas joined the Union, that we as the state of Illinois, Texas, or New York, and in this case the Republic of Texas, only agreed to give the federal government, by joining the federal union, maybe about, that's too much, about that much power, then the federal glass, and reserve the remainder to the state, and then the vast majority to we the people. As free people, we reserved power, as Mr. Jefferson said, that we, in his mind, the American Republic, the only reason they created the American Republic was to preserve this much authority in the hands of all of us as free people, that everything, Mr. Jefferson said, that we could see and touch, we controlled exclusively. The government had no power, no jurisdiction, as he said, over the mind of man, no jurisdiction over our family, no jurisdiction over our homes, our privacy, our money, our bank, our business, our gun case, our local school, public health, etc. And the effect, however, of the war between the states, when that first shot was fired at Fort Sumter, and Lincoln's assassination, this again being the we the people glass, let me start just pouring, actually, here's the federal glass. As a result of the war between the states, the Reconstruction, Radical Reconstruction Congress, congressmen who love to hold press conferences at how tough I am on crime, and look how wonderful I'm saving children in public education. No Child Left Behind, which I voted against. FDR and the New Deal, judges like William Wayne Justice that run our state prisons in Texas for 20 years, and again, congressmen who love to hold press conferences. There's nothing left. In either the we the people glass or the state glass, all power is now totally focused in the federal government. And there's nothing left. There's literally, if you think about it, I mean, the President of the United States just fired the head of Government Motors. And they are now a exclusively wholly owned subsidiary of the United States government. We're now in the banking business. The federal government has taken over mortgage banking. The federal government has taken over the banking business. The federal government has now taken over the automobile industry. We've got a president that's committed on a path not only to taking us to be, I used to say France, I think you're going to jump right beyond that into vestiges of the Soviet Union. And it is a really terrifying prospect that we as free Americans are losing because of this crisis, and a very aggressive, hard left leadership in the House, hard left leadership in the Senate and the White House, a very aggressive agenda to nationalize whatever little drops were left. I mean, this government is rapidly concentrating all power, as Mr. Jefferson feared, in the hands of the federal government. And the Revolution of 1800, as he called it, the Federalists, those who wanted to concentrate power in Washington, retreated to the bunkers of the judiciary, he said, under the leadership of John Marshall, and turned their guns on the people. We today in the 21st century are seeing the final culmination of that. We're going to have a federal government that, because of the massive consolidation of power, this incredible expansion of federal debt and deficit beyond anything we had ever imagined, we really are enslaving future generations to pay off this debt. And it's one of the things Mr. Jefferson feared more than anything else was accumulation of debt enslaves future generations, and we're passing this on to our posterity. It's just not acceptable. The solution lies in really restoring Jeffersonian Republican principles. He always said, if you apply core Republican principles, the knot will untie itself. I can wrap this up in 2 minutes, Rob, and then I'll jump into it. But I wanted to lay the foundation for this, because the whole concept, if you think about it, if Congress can destroy the sovereignty of the states and individual freedom by statute, we can restore it. And there truly are ways, and I've got legislation I've already drafted that I want to bring to Heritage to show you, that would, for example, make all federal grant programs disappear. All of them. All $600 billion of federal grants would disappear in every state in the union in 2 years, or after their next legislative session, unless the state legislature passes a law and says, yes, we want the money, and we surrender state sovereignty, we surrender control of our schools, we surrender control of our whatever state institution it is to the federal government. Now, the effect of that is, once the states refuse that money, that returns power back to the states over public education, public health institutions, any other state or local agency that's receiving federal money. It would have to be a voluntary, informed consent on the part of the local government or state government to take the money. There are ways to restore state sovereignty. These are complicated, difficult problems that are going to take time to resolve. But we here today, and I'm convinced that the new media, social media, all of you here today that are familiar with computer technology and the ability of this incredible new tool to open up, to shine sunlight in all the dark corners of our government, I'm really convinced the next revolution lies here in this room and in all the people listening out there today. And I mean it very sincerely, a real revolution through the ballot box, of course, a real revolution of information, opening up access to information to everyone in the country, and allowing people to see, as Mr. Jefferson said, the free marketplace of ideas is the best place to try all abuses.